Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Vagaro's monthly business webinar brought to you by
The Two Blondes
at the Profitable Salon Owner, where our motto is get salon owners profitable really slow.
No, Aileen. Really fast.
Really fast. Let's face it, only 5% of our industry is actually showing any signs of profitability. And it is really a sad state for such an incredibly fascinating business, isn't it, Catherine?
It is. And I mean, those numbers really don't change. I think it gets harder and harder all the time to actually make a profit.
It does.
And we are in the business of making a profit. We need to make money to keep our businesses healthy, to keep staff employed, and to keep great places for clients to come in and see us.
And not just that, it's an exchange of economy as well. Like we're providing a service for which we get paid. So we put money out into the economy and it helps everything go along. Right?
That's true.
And I have to just say at this point that, again, I really want to thank Vagaro for hosting us, because it really shows their passion for improving the industry as well.
Well, and their commitment.
And their commitment to it. So, thanks so much, everybody at Vagaro. We're just so thrilled to be part of your organization, because what an incredible service you provide at the same time.
Absolutely. So onwards and upwards. Today, our subject matter is 4 keys to live by. So we're going to learn from a master, and we are not the masters.
No,
today.
Actually, we're via the master, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
I mean, I really believe that you look outside of the industry to find things that are going to make us better.
Exactly. And, Kath and I have had quite some discussions on this, and we've seen, from news feeds and beauty blogs and industry news and Facebook and all of these things, all sorts of interesting posts from various stylists or owners on the frustrations they feel in our industry. It is definitely a universal thing. I mean, predominantly we see what's going on in North America more than, say, for example, Europe or Australia, but our problems are global.
Yeah,
they're absolutely global. And like anything else, though, in this world, we really need to develop some community standards, you might say, because when we read about some of the problems that are occurring within the industry, we have to find a way to make it work for everybody.
That's true. And it's always really interesting, because business is business, but really it's all about us as individuals and as people. So today we want to maybe not talk so much about the business of doing hair or skin or any of that. We want to talk about what you bring to the table.
Yes, because in the end, you are your business. Absolutely. The quintessential you is your business.
Yep.
If you have a client that is coming back to you, that means they are coming because of you. So how do you get better at being you?
Totally. And I mean, let's just talk a little bit about, a post that we saw on Facebook. And it was a stylist that was sharing his frustration. He had gone to 8 different salons to try and find a salon that fit what he was looking for, and basically said there isn't a salon out there. And, we talked about it. And one of the lines that I have always used is, sometimes it's not the other people, sometimes it's you. And when you go from
Scary thought.
But when you go from place to place to place, you really have to take a look at yourself and think, well, the one common denominator here is me.
Yeah,
and
yes.
It doesn't matter where you go. And I said this to one of my staff many years ago when I was letting her go. And I said, the problem is, Grace, that you have to take yourself with you. It doesn't matter where you go, unless you change who you are, you're going to keep experiencing the same problems. So today we just want to really talk about having a good look at you.
Having a really good look at you and developing some skills, some personal skills that will help you become better at your job. And if we can develop these kinds of, I'm going to call them community, I don't like the word rules, but community something or other.
But one of the things, Aileen and I, like I said, we always go outside to look at different books and where we can take information from that it's going to make us better about what it is that we do. And trust me, we still need help to do that. You know, last year was a pretty interesting, sometimes challenging year for us both professionally and personally. But, you know, you have to look at that and you have to learn from it and you have to grow from it. So
challenge is just another opportunity for growth. And the word I was looking for is tenants. We need sort of like community tenants to sort of live by, that we can create for our industry. And if we live up to that, we've created a better world for ourselves and for the people around us.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the authors that the master that we are going to talk about today is
Don Miguel Ruiz, who has written The 4 Agreements. We absolutely believe that it's so easy to only have 4 things to have to sort of work with your life. And today we want to share with you the 4 agreements, salon style.
Yes.
Because we're going to reinvent this specifically geared to the salon and spa world.
So we're going to talk about the 4, I like to call them the 4 keys. So we're going to talk about those today. Number 1 is be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't take anything personally. Number 3, don't make assumptions. And number 4, always do your best. I think I may have mixed them up a bit on the slides, but I like to do that just to make sure you're paying attention. Make sure you're on your toes.
You got it.
So, and some of these are tough.
They are.
Some of these took me a long time to kind of
wrap your head around. Absolutely.
So today,
it's all about you.
It is. It's all about you. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Really think about stretching yourself today and how you might take these 4 simple tenets and turn your professional life into something absolutely amazing.
Hear, hear. Okay, number 1.
Be impeccable with your word. And I know that you have heard Catherine and I talk endlessly about dialogue and how important it is in our business. Because once you have a word that passes your lips, you can never catch it back.
Yeah, you can't take it back.
And in thinking about your dialogue, let's take a look at your circle of influence.
Okay. Go with that one, Aileen.
Okay, so your circle of influence, of course, are all the people around you. First of all, the client in your chair, the stylist or esthetician standing next to you, your employer or your landlord, and then, of course, your circle of friends, your family. You know, you think about all the people and acquaintances that you know. That is your circle of influence. And please never underestimate the power that you have to influence the people around you.
Yeah, and the other thing is think about who you hang out with most, because I can't remember what the saying is, but you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most.
That's right.
So look at the people that you hang out with. Are they the type of people that you want to be?
You know, because that's a reflection of you, right? So just take a very close look at it, because for me, the most important thing is, are you hanging out with people who give you positive feedback? Are you hanging out with people who encourage you and empower you and motivate you, who make you want to be a better person? Or are you hanging around with people who you allow to put you down or negate what you do, minimize your influence? Really take a very close look at your circle of influence, because they are going to affect what comes out of your mouth.
Yep, they are. They're going to affect everything, actually, that goes on within that circle. And it's so interesting. You know, we do sometimes have people that are close to us that we allow to influence us in a very negative way.
And and of course, because we work in the salon industry, you know, Kath and I are in and out of salons all the time. And sometimes it is so hurtful what we hear, because once you say something that comes out of your mouth, you can never get it back. We have to really think about how we injure people with our words or how we lift people up. But it's the injuring that hurts me so badly. And we're all guilty of it at some time. And it takes work to pull to stop those words before they leave your mouth. But you know what? You can do it.
Absolutely. So really look at your circle, analyze them, make sure that they are lifting you up, because that is vitally important.
You got it. And if you are allowing yourself to be influenced by that negative factor, cut it out.
Yeah. Cut them out.
Exactly.
And that's hard to do.
It is.
It's really hard to do, but cut them out, or be really honest and say, hey, this is what's going on. And you may not mean to, or they may not mean to be doing that to you, but they don't even realize what it is that they're saying.
Okay. And in speaking of the circle of influence, remember that you're part of other people's circle of influence. So go take a look in the mirror and also see, are you that positive input in somebody else's life? Are you raising up a friend or a family member? Are you the one that is allowing someone else to be empowered and motivated to move forward? So it works both ways, not just in receiving, but in giving.
Yes. And let's move on to the next one. Be impeccable with your word and limit the conversations that go on
in the salon.
Absolutely. Yeah. Really the things that should be off limit should be sex, religion, and politics.
Especially right now.
Yes, absolutely. It's, and totally, I'm speechless, because I can't tell you how many times we have walked into a salon and some of the inappropriate conversations that we hear are mind-numbing.
Oh, absolutely. And the reason I say, especially right now, is because we do have a really large American following. And of course, the political situation right now, there's an election coming up. And people tend to be really, really one side of the fence or the other. Why would you want to risk offending anybody by your political beliefs? So just keep them to yourself. Don't bring it up. If your client brings it up, just very nicely go, or something, just sort of defer it, right?
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in those.
Yeah. And really, as an owner, I've been an owner for many, many, many years. And, we have a lot of different ages with our clients, and we have a lot of young stylists. And sometimes you put a young stylist and a young client together, and some of the conversations are completely inappropriate, and they offend some of the older.
Exactly. It may not even be what
clients.
a conversation that you're having with the client sitting at your station, but the person who's sitting next to you may be horribly offended. And you have to really think about that. And, I got to say, when I was in my 20s, I was pretty wild and out there,
You're a party girl.
Party girl. But now the same kind of conversations, at my, my older self, my more mature self, I don't like it. No. I don't like to hear it. I've kind of grown up, right?
It's kind of like, do I really have to hear this? I mean, we're all, because we live in the world of technology and the mobile phone, we are all privy to hearing lots of private information about people when they're talking on their phone, because everybody talks louder than they really need to. But it shouldn't happen not in the salon. So really check your conversation. It's sometimes interesting what we get off on, because again, we cross the bridge and we think that our clients are our friends.
I think you just nailed that, Kath, because that's where we have to really think about that slate hands off. Mm-hmm. Even if this is a friend, when they are sitting at your station, they are your client, and our job is to deal with them in a professional manner. And that means no sex, religion, or politics.
So there you go, people. That's our belief.
Okay, but let's talk about what you can talk about. Like, what are the things that are really important here? Because when you've got a client sitting at your station, what they are interested in is fashion, their beauty, the trends that are coming up, how that's going to affect them. There's so much to talk about that is going to enhance your client's
it should be
appearance.
all about them.
Exactly.
They are paying us. And how many times have we gone somewhere and it's like, it's all about the person working on the client. Hello, people. Yes, it's nice to share a little bit of information, but minimize it.
Exactly, because it's all about them. And we're saying this webinar today is all about you giving your client the quintessential experience in at your station.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're just checking in and making sure that you're checking up on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And be very careful, because one day Catherine and I could surprise visit you and be sitting in your chair. Don't let us catch you.
Well done.
One never knows, right?
So the next one, third one down, is BRB. What on earth is BRB? Well, I christened this phrase a long, long time ago in my own salon.
The Barb.
Yeah. It's called backroom bitching.
You got it.
Backroom bitching, I believe, is the cancer for salons.
You know, we were talking about the negatives that we have in our circle of influence. Well, the backroom bitch is that whirlpool that just sucks you in and draws you in. And
it is. It's a vortex.
It's a vortex. That's a great word. And it is dangerous.
Yeah. For sure. And I have seen, I have a fairly large staff, and I have seen one person come in, and I'll call her Miss BRB, comes in, and she can split the staff down the middle in no time at all, because it is a cancer. It's like a terminal disease in your salon. And if you are not aware or you don't cut it out, honestly, it can be the death knell for a lot of salons.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that we found too is we'll often counsel owners to eliminate the BRB, get rid of them. And often the word coming back to us is, but that's my biggest earner.
Yes.
And you know what? That biggest earner isn't worth the price of admission in the end. And, for those of you who have followed our advice and gotten rid of their BRB, they've turned around and told us, wow, what a difference in our salon. Everybody else was raised up after that person left, and there was basically no
backlash.
There's no backlash
from it.
So,
and if, you know what, and really think about this, because I did this with myself one time. Many years ago, in between owning two salons, I was renting a chair in another salon, and I did not like the way this man ran his business at all, and his staff would come to me and complain about him, and then I realized that I was turning into the backroom bitcher.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really had to check that. So I went to the owner and I said, look, here there's some issues here, you need to fix them. Because instead of being the backroom bitcher, which I could see myself turning into, because they were all coming to me and I'd go, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. So I was stirring that pot. I realized I caught myself, checked myself, and went, all right, rather than bitch in the back room, we need to bring it out and say, this is what is bothering us. And I don't care if you are an independent contractor working in a space with other people. You have to be aware of what's going on.
You got it. And so rather than, be fomenting all of that negativity, be the proactive person that's going to be the change you want to see in your world, right?
And so how I deal with people that are bitching in the back, if I hear about it, then I will talk to that person and I'll say, you know what? Okay, so you don't like this. You need to go and talk to whoever it is that you're bitching about. You need to go and talk to them, and you have 24 hours to do it. If you do not, then I will step in.
Do 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 do.
Because
They
if
don't
you
call her the Velvet Hammer for nothing.
because if you don't break this cycle, that's when it becomes a cancer.
You got it.
So I'm sure you've all lived it, you've all seen it, and some of you have maybe even been it. So like just own it and don't be that person anymore.
And reverse. Take a reverse direction. Go look in the mirror, give yourself an honest assessment and say, am I guilty of being the BRB? And turn it around. Be the one that raises everybody up. And find that, well, moves in perfectly because we remove the negatives from your language.
And Aileen, this is your segue because Aileen is all about language.
I work very hard in taking the negatives out of my language. Even in our newsletter, I try and eliminate, I hate the word try because I always think we should just do. The word but always implies a negative, right? So we have to think about substituting the words that we use. We use can instead of can't. Think about how you can take the words in a sentence and change it into something negative. Instead of saying, I don't want to do this, what is it that you want to do? And let's voice our opinion in the terms of what it is that we want rather than what we don't want.
Because if we always tell ourselves that we can't do something or we don't want to do something, that's exactly what you're going to do.
You got it.
Language is strong. Like language is, you are absolutely writing your own story with the language you use.
And I got to tell you, there's actually 3 laws of our mind that we have to pay attention to. And the first law is that you can actually only focus on one thing at a time. You can't think about making peanut butter sandwiches and cutting hair at the same time. It's like a slideshow going on. There's only one thing in your mind at a time. So the second rule is you can't avoid a don't. So when you have a negative image in your mind, that is where you move towards. And then the third rule is that you move towards what you focus on.
Right.
So it makes it really simple to understand that every single time we have a negative thought in our head, that's where we're going. So here's what we want you to really focus on this year is can instead of can't, do instead of don't, shall instead of shouldn't, will instead of won't, and instead of but. And it's the last one that you will find the hardest.
Yes. Oh, that's a tough one for sure.
It is. But if you take the buts out, and didn't I just say that?
Yeah.
But if you take the buts out, and if you take the buts out, guess what? You've moved ahead. You're thinking in that positive way. You will be absolutely amazed at how changing your language will change the way your brain thinks. It's called cognitive behavioral therapy. And when you change the way your synapses in your brain work, all of a sudden everything becomes positive instead of negative.
Hear, hear. Okay, so I love this next little slide because it's really about your chances of success. I mean, if you say I won't, you have 0%.
Right, because in your mind, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, I can't. Well, maybe, 10%.
I can't do that.
But look, as you change your language, I want to. Well, I want to is kind of wimpy.
It kind
still,
of wimpy.
40%. You're maybe on the fence.
I think I might.
Well, that's still not. I might. I think I can. You're getting up there a little bit.
I can. I am.
And I did. Because that's where the success lies, in being able to change over what your language is saying. So
be impeccable with your word is just so much more than you can even imagine. First of all, I love the way they say it. Be impeccable with your word.
So just remember what it is that you're saying.
And
be aware.
Exactly. Don't let a word pass your lips unless it's something that you want out in the universe.
Guaranteed after today, you're going to catch yourself and you're going to go, oops, the blonde said not to do that. And I mean, we're guilty of it ourselves. We're all evolving and learning.
It's a work in progress, right? It's a work in progress.
So,
assume at your own risk.
Yes, love this.
Well, let's face it, we all know what assume really means.
Yes.
I was actually really surprised when someone broke it down for me because I thought, oh, I didn't know that. But assume is, everybody says, is when you assume something, you make an ass out of you and me, right?
That's good, Aileen. I like that. So basically, how do you know what your client is thinking? Really? We just assume we know what our clients are thinking.
We don't. We don't know what our clients are thinking.
So, do you really know? Do you know what your coworker is thinking?
Oh, I read minds.
Yeah, no, you don't. I could tell you that. So, I mean, we often make assumptions.
I know you want a skinny latte.
Well, that's because that's what I always order. That's a little different. But I mean, truly, we so often make assumptions without even knowing exactly what the person, without asking. I always say that communication is 9/10 of the world's problem.
Absolutely, because we often just want to hear what it is what we want. So we make all these assumptions. In our business, we make assumptions about how much money the client has. We make assumptions on that they want the same thing that they had last time. We make assumptions all through it.
All through the visit, we're making assumptions.
Exactly. And it kind of drives me crazy because you're acting like a mind reader. And guess what? You're not. I don't care how empathetic you are or whatever. You are not a mind reader. And unless you ask, you are not going to understand.
And we, as consultants in this industry, we hear all the time. I've had young stylists that say to me, oh, I couldn't possibly charge that because my client couldn't afford it.
I couldn't ask them to take conditioner with their shampoo because they've already spent this much money and I'm sure they can't afford it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not just young stylists.
It's stylists who've been in the industry
or estheticians.
Ever.
I mean, that's not our job. That's not our job to assume that our client is not going to take it. Our job is to educate, let them know exactly what it is that they need to be doing to look after whatever it is that we've done for them, whether it be their skin or their hair. Our job is not to assume that they can't afford something.
Our job is not to assume that they don't need foundation products for their hair at home. Our job is not to assume that they want a pale pink blonde or whatever rather than a dark blonde. We really have to start affirming and confirming what it is that our clients want.
Yeah, and that's in the third one down. We say seek confirmation in every conversation.
You got it.
Because really we need to, when I say communication is 9/10 of the world's problem, it's because we think we know what we heard, but did we really know what we heard?
And one of the most important phrases that we really need to use in our business is that when our client asks us for something or directs us in a certain way, we need to feed it back to them. So, Catherine, I'm understanding then that you're looking for a base color with low lights or highlights. So, you're going to have to feed back to them to make sure that you understand. Now, Catherine, I understand that you'd like to have some blonde in your hair. Can you share with me be a bit more specific on the tone of blonde that you'd like to have?
And pictures speak 1,000 words.
Exactly. We've got to look for that confirmation. Now, Catherine, when you say that you'd like to have an inch taken off the bottom of your hair, can you confirm for me what you think an inch is?
Yes, I think it's like this much.
Oh, that looks more like 2 inches to me. And that would take your hair up to this level. Is this what you're really thinking about?
Oh, yes, I guess it was.
So do you see what I mean? Because everybody has an idea in their mind of what it is that they're saying. And unless you repeat back to them what it is, it can turn into a disaster. But here's the great thing in confirming every conversation with a client at your station. What you are doing is you are eliminating the possibility of not being able to give them what it is that they're looking for. Satisfaction. You're
Totally. I mean, it's confirmation is critical, and I see it all the time, and we all, we all do it. In the hair loss industry, in talking to clients, it's doubly, it's even more critical, because oftentimes we don't have what they're looking for right in the center, and we have to order it in. So, I can't go back and forth, because that takes weeks to go back and forth with. So we have to be so detailed about, okay, so this is what you're looking for, and this is the color that you're looking for, blah, blah, blah. And we go on and on. So, confirmation is critical, because sometimes somebody says something and it's not really what they mean.
And let's face it, in the end, we have the perfect tool in our business to nail what it is that the client wants, and that's the consultation. But I've got to say that it has been my experience that probably only 80% of only 20% of our service providers are actually doing a great consultation. Maybe it's even smaller than that, but I'm going to say that 80% of our service providers out there are not
doing a really good consultation.
And there's a negative for you. I just said a negative. I really hate that. I want to change that around. I want to see 80% of you giving the best consultation that you've ever given in your life.
Absolutely.
Every single time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not very good about being consistent. So we may do a great consultation half of the time, and then we may do so-so consultation 25% of the time, and then we may not do any consultation 25% of the time. And who is it that we don't consult with normally?
Our returning clients. And we forget about them.
Yeah, and who really should we always be giving?
Oh, the returning client, because they're the ones that, let's face it, one of the number one reason that a client leaves us is because they're bored. And why? Because you didn't sit down and have a consultation with them when they came back. You assumed that you knew what they wanted.
There we go.
There
Assumption.
You go. Assumption.
So do not assume.
There is one assumption that you and I like to say that everybody should make, and that is assume that your client wants our services or products. They want what you have to offer.
But the great thing is, if you can position that in your mind, if you believe with every fiber of your being that the client wants what it is that you have, it makes it so much easier to deliver it.
It does, because if you believe that they need to have, for example, I think retail is the perfect one here, right? If we assume that our client needs to have a foundation product to recreate that style at home, that is your belief system. And if you present that to the client, it just makes it so easy for them to understand what they have to do at home to maintain their, the style that you've given to them. And so the assumption that, the client wants our service or products is really part of your belief system.
Yes. And so you should take this slide, print it out, and put it somewhere where you can see it on a daily basis. Because trust me, it's repetition. And that if you look at that every single day, the only thing we should assume is that the client wants our services and products, then that is going to be part of your makeup. It's going to be part of your belief system, because I'll tell you, we all have a ton of false beliefs.
Yes, not only about ourselves, but about our clients. And I think that's the thing, is because those false beliefs are assumptions. Eliminate it. Go look in the mirror and see if you're guilty of this, okay? Number 3.
Oh, yeah, this is my personal favorite.
Absolutely.
Actually.
Stop
taking things personally. And it really will free you. If you can learn to do this, it will absolutely free you. It took me a long time to learn how to do this, but it was just self-preservation that taught me that I needed to do this. Every day, people will say things to us, and it stops us in our tracks and sets us back, because guess what? Most of us take it personally. It's all about, it must be about me. But no, really, trust me. more often than not, when somebody is talking to you, it's not about you, it's about them.
It's what's going on in their life. Often when we, for example, when we criticize somebody, it's because we're seeing something in them that's going on within ourselves. So before you criticize someone else, please, I beg you, go look in the mirror and find out what it is within yourself that is bothering you. Because in the end, it isn't about the other person. It's about what's going on with you. And again, when you go back to the be impeccable with your word, really, really think about that. If you have a criticism or whatever of another person, think about how you're going to word that. Think about how you can change it around to make it an uplifting experience rather than a negative experience, because it isn't about the person that you're talking to. It's really about yourself.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, we all deal with it every day. I mean, we're in the people business, whether it be staff, whether you have staff and you're working with staff, and we all work with clients because that's where our money comes from. So you're going to run up against people that, you may have a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for, Eileen? Your personalities may clash, or there's something that isn't sitting well with you. And I mean, we're just taught, we just take it on as ours, and really it's not. But you really have to step out of it and say, okay, so what is going on in this situation? With them, it's not about me now. It's it's them. What could be going on with them? What am I mirroring back to them that is they're not liking? So just step out of it. But honestly, if you can master this, it
change your life.
Yeah.
It will change your life when you recognize that the words coming out of somebody else's mouth really have nothing to do with you. It gives you that degree of separation where it loses its power to hurt you. Because more often than not, somebody who is saying something negative to you is possibly someone that you care about.
Oh, for sure.
But having that ability to sort of separate that and understanding that also gives you the power to perhaps embrace that person to find out what's really going on.
Yes, because more often than not, there is something going on in their life, and that's what's being mirrored back to you. I really, I'm hugely fanatical about this piece, because we do put ourselves out there every day.
Yep.
We do stand out there. We do put our work on display. It's not like sitting in an office, and being, I don't want to say invisible in an office, but it's a different thing that we do. It's our work that we create with our hands.
We're public people.
Yeah.
We're public people. And of course we are artistic and creative people. Mm-hmm. So that means that we are going to be judged on a regular basis. When we were in the art gallery the other day, Catherine, we were talking about how a piece of art is judged or seen differently from all sorts of aspects, right? And it's the same. It is really the same kind of thing of what we create in the salon and spa. It's a form of creativity, and not everybody is going to like your vision. So how do you protect yourself from that?
Yeah, by not taking it personally,
Exactly.
By being able to step away from the piece and look and say, all right, well, that makes sense to me, but again, communication. If you do a great consultation, it's really hard to mess up, with length or color or what somebody's looking for. So really think about this. All goes back to the consultation again, because I really do believe that consultation piece is our foundation for
a great experience.
And then if you've done everything you can, step out. And it's not personal. There are people out there you will never please.
Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But if you can learn to accept that, then you can let it go. You are not going to please all the people all the time. You will please all the people some of the time, and you will please some of the people all of the time. But you will never please all of the people all of the time, and that's life.
Yeah. And then when we talk about mirror on the wall, I actually really like this one. And because I've done this so many times with...
Oh, I can't see myself.
Oh,
I'm fogged out.
I've done this so many times with salon owners, stylists, estheticians. When I go into their space and we go in and do consultations, and sometimes people will come to me with a litany of complaints, and I will walk them over to the mirror, and they'll look, and I'll go, there's your problem right in the mirror, because guess what? You are your own problem.
Yeah. And, that is probably one of the hardest things that we have to face up to, is that we are our own problems. When we go from salon to salon, we actually are carrying a backpack of our habits and our belief systems, and all of our life is a backpack, and we carry it from salon to salon. And here's the thing, by looking in the mirror, what it means is you take that backpack off and you empty it out, and you look at all the things in that backpack and see what baggage is it that you are carrying around and need to let go of. It is an extremely freeing experience. And you don't have to wait for Catherine and I to show up and put you in front of a mirror. Go, and if you have an opportunity today or tomorrow, go and look in the mirror and really take a look at these 4 tenets and say, am I really living up to this? Am I part of the solution, or am I part of the problem? Let's be part of the solution.
Yeah. And the one thing, I like this slide because it's showtime. And I really believe that what we do when we step into our business, we are on stage. It doesn't matter what is going on with you. You are on stage. You can't be an actor or an actress and go on stage and haul all your baggage with you. You have to pretend to be someone else. And that's what we need to do when we are working on clients. They are paying money for our time and our expertise.
And you are on stage. And I think that's such an amazingly strong visual, to think about. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Showtime!
Now I'm ready to go.
You got it. What does that professional persona look like to you? And actually, that feeds really well into the last tenet, doesn't it?
It does. And this one is do your best.
Ta-da!
Always do your best. And really, in doing so, you enhance the quality of your life. So think about that. If every day you went in and you strive to do your best, what would that look like?
Well, I'll tell you what that looks like, because I can't do it every single day, because it's such hard work doing your best every single day. But I like to think that I nail it maybe 5 or 6 times out of 7.
Yeah.
Right. And what it feels like at the end of the day is like a high. Like, I think today I really brought my best game to the table today. I was the best professional I could be today. I was the best mom I could be today. I was the best friend I could be today. I was the best sister I could be today. Like all of those things. And at the end of the day, it is such a high, isn't it?
It is. It totally is a high. And, often at the end of the day, because, I am in the hair loss world a couple of days a week. And often at the end of the day, I am exhausted.
Here.
I am exhausted because I put my best out there always, because I have women coming to see me who are really sad because they don't have a lot of hair. And my job is to get them to smile, give them hope, and to send them out the door. So I really strive to every single day do my best. And if I can make my clients smile, that to me is I'm doing my best.
Exactly. And I just can't tell you what a fantastic high it is to know that you have done everything you can to create the best day for the people around you, because in creating the best day for the people around you, you've just enhanced the quality of your own life. And what more can you ask for in this world?
Here. So strive for excellence always.
Always, every day.
And our favorite, set goals.
And make them long and short term. If you have a long-term goal, sometimes they have, they're so far away, you can't see the end in sight. So what you want to do is break them up until they become small and manageable, right into, say, your daily goals. And then it makes it really easy. How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Right. There's a positive comment for you.
You eat an elephant the same way you eat a hamburger.
You got it.
One bite at a time. So it doesn't matter how large this seems. That's what you need to do. And I think the last piece is probably the most important piece. Find an accountability partner, because it's really hard to hold ourselves accountable, but we need to find somebody that we can work with and hold each other accountable for our actions. Actions speak louder than words often.
Exactly. So, especially when it comes to, setting goals, because if Kath and I, sit down and set goals with each other, either personal or professional, we're really lucky actually to have each other, because, I can go to Kath and say, I set this goal for myself and I'm really struggling to make it. And then we'll sit down and talk about it and discuss some ideas on how I might move forward or whatever. And the same thing for Kath. If she's got some stuff that she's working on, we can sit down and share some ideas and see how we might move forward in a different way, or shift an attitude or whatever it is. Find an accountability partner, whether it's a husband, a friend, or a wife,
coworker,
or whatever. Find somebody that will help you be accountable for the work that you do.
Because really, it doesn't matter where we go or what we do. If it's easy to say, yes, we're going to do this, but if we are not held accountable, we are not going to be as successful as if we are held accountable.
You got it. So I hope you'll really work on this. And here's the thing is that we at the Profitable Salon Owner really believe that we have to create a way to do business in this world to lift all of us up. And so we hope you'll embrace these 4 keys to, mastering life within the beauty industry.
Because really it is all about you, in the fact that you are the only person that can change the outcomes.
You got it. And, there's some really negative outcomes going on in our industry right now. Let's change that. Let's really look at how we're going to move forward to make a difference. I'm so serious about this that I would really like to, if you've got some negative comments, send us that negative comment, info@theprofitablesalonowner.com, and I'll send you back a note on ideas on how we might move that forward and turn it into a positive. Right? Because everything that we do out there, there's an opposite. We can find the positive ways to move forward.
Hear, hear.
And one of the positive things that the Profitable Salon Owner does for you is every Monday, we put out a free, absolutely free, no charge to you newsletter. So if you go onto our website at www.theprofitablesalonowner.com, and on the right-hand side, you'll see a sign-up page for our weekly newsletter. Please sign up. It is our gift to you. And again, we'd really like to thank Vagaro for having us. We are so delighted to be part of their team. So thank you all so much for tuning in today. This has been recorded, so you can always go back and check out the recording.
And here's to being the best that you can possibly be.
Oh, and by the way, next month, our webinar is going to be on closing the sale.
Yes. So many people, that's their downfall. So let's talk about closing the sale.
You got it. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great month. It's the month of love.
Bye.
Bye.